Well, David, that's a very important question. But during the May escalation between Israel and Hamas in Gaza, we heard there were multiple events, as our viewers could see on the screen, at least 5 of rockets fired from southern Lebanon into Israel. Back then it was believed that these were small Palestinian factions behind it. But in fact, we're learning from this new report that it appears that these weren't small factions, but rather a Hamas military infrastructure that has been established in the past year and a half in southern Lebanon, and this was likely, they were likely behind these 5 rocket launches. We're talking about a report published by the Alma Research and Education Center. They shared this with our French defense correspondent, Matthias Inbar. They're a think tank that specializes in security threats from the north. And basically, they're highlighting this new military infrastructure, 2 operational units in southern Lebanon. We're talking about the El Shimali unit and the Khalid Ali unit. They're responsible for recruitment, training, as well as operating weapons such as drones and rockets. This is what's relevant to these 5 rocket launches that we've seen since May. And the 2 main commanders that are highlighted in the report are Majid Khader and Mohammed Salim. Now, it's interesting to point out that these 2 commanders are based in Istanbul, Turkey, the same place where Hamas number 2, Saleh Harouri, the founder of the Al-Qassam brigades, the military wing of Hamas, that's where he's located, and they're overseeing this. And so it's also sending a hint to Hamas and to its leadership, saying we know about this operation, but we also know that the geographic proximity to the current leadership is known to Israel.
Now, looking at the dynamics between Hezbollah and Hamas, a major rift emerged in 2011, I believe, at the onset of the Syrian war here. Both find themselves on different sides of that conflict in the beginning here, but has that been largely repaired over the last decade, given common ground in their standoff with Israel? What do we know?
So during the May operation between Hamas, the war between Hamas and Israel, there were indications that there was a shared headquarters between Hamas and Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, and so that could indicate at least sharing of information. But we also know, according to this report, that many, if not all, of the rocket incidents from May were fired without the knowledge of Hezbollah. And so this could indicate as to some rift between the 2. But at the end of the day, both this infrastructure in southern Lebanon and Hezbollah, they're funded, they're orchestrated, and managed by the Quds Force, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard unit that is responsible for spreading the Islamic Revolution in the region. And so at the end of the day, they're the ones who call the shots. Even if the 2 groups aren't in total sync between them, this is another example of Iran proxies establishing themselves on Israel's borders.
Certainly something the defense establishment paying close attention to here. Ariel, Oseran, thanks for breaking that down.